Have you ever said something you instantly regretted? A small moment before words leave your mouth can determine the outcome of your relationships, your career, and your peace of mind. Once spoken, words are like arrows released from a bow. They can't be taken back. That fleeting moment of hesitation, that brief pause, holds more power than we realize. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, taught us that controlling what we say is one of the most powerful tools we can have in life. He believed that our thoughts and words should be disciplined, mindful, and aligned with wisdom. In his view, silence is not weakness, it's often the greatest form of strength. The Stoics understood that not every thought deserves to be spoken, and that silence can provide the space for clarity and reflection. Today, we will explore how mastering the art of controlling our speech can make us more thoughtful, less reactive, and ultimately more powerful. By understanding the profound impact of words and the quiet force of silence, we can take back control of our lives and our relationships, one conversation at a time. The brief pause before speaking is one of the most powerful moments we experience every day. It's that split-second gap between thought and speech, a small window where we can choose how to respond rather than react. This moment is often overlooked, but it is crucial in determining how we engage with others and handle challenging situations. In these few fleeting seconds, we hold the potential to either let our emotions take over or to exercise control and mindfulness. Many people, in the heat of the moment, allow frustration, anger, or fear to dictate their words. Our emotional impulses often drive us to speak before thinking, and the result can be words that harm, escalate conflict, or regret. But Stoicism teaches us to be mindful of this pause, to see it as an opportunity for reflection and intentional action rather than an impulsive reaction. The Stoics believed that the true strength lies in our ability to master our emotions, not let them master us. Imagine you're in a heated discussion and frustration is building inside you. Your pulse quickens, your mind races, and the urge to speak your mind, perhaps to defend yourself or lash out, feels overwhelming. In that moment, the words you choose can either escalate or diffuse the situation. If you let your emotions dictate the conversation, you might say something you'll regret. But if you pause, even just for a brief moment, you have the power to choose your words more carefully, to decide whether speaking is truly necessary or if silence could bring more peace and clarity. Marcus Aurelius's advice on this matter is simple, yet profound. You always have the power of not having an opinion. In this statement, he reminds us that not every situation requires a response, and often the best choice is to remain silent or offer a neutral reply. Choosing silence over an emotional outburst is not a sign of weakness. It is a conscious decision to maintain control, to preserve peace, and to prevent unnecessary conflict. This practice, when applied consistently, can help us build more thoughtful, measured responses and greater emotional resilience in all aspects of life. Silence is often misunderstood. Too frequently, people associate it with weakness, as if the act of not speaking signifies a lack of control or conviction. But silence, when used consciously, is one of the most powerful tools at our disposal. Epicurus once said, "Letting go is where real power lies," and in this, he highlights the strength in restraint. By choosing silence over unnecessary words, we are not conceding to weakness. We are exercising control, creating space for thoughtful reflection, and showing that we don't need to fill every moment with noise. In many conversations, silence is a strategic tool. It can act as a moment of pause, allowing us to consider our next words carefully and preventing us from making rash decisions. Far from being a void or emptiness, silence can be a space of tremendous power. Yet, most people fear silence. There is a discomfort that comes with the pause, as if silence exposes vulnerability or leaves an awkward gap in communication. This fear often compels people to fill every moment with words, pushing them to speak even when they have nothing of substance to say. In the face of this discomfort, people might find themselves talking more than necessary just to avoid the stillness. From a Stoic perspective, this impulse to fill the silence with words runs contrary to nature. As the philosopher Epictetus said, nature gave us one tongue and two ears, so we could listen twice as much as we speak. The Stoics saw silence not as a void, but as an opportunity for deeper listening, reflection, and understanding. By choosing silence, we allow ourselves to listen with greater attention and empathy. In this way, silence is not only an absence of speech, but an active engagement with the world around us. When we embrace silence, we step into the role of the quiet observer. In many conversations, those who speak less hold the real power because they are able to listen and understand the underlying thoughts, emotions, and intentions of others. The one who listens closely is the one who gains insight, who sees the unspoken truths that others might miss in their rush to fill every silence with words. By being silent, we gather information. We observe the dynamics of a conversation, and we have the space to respond with intention rather than impulse. Consider a time when you were with someone who wouldn't stop talking. Did they seem afraid of silence? Were they so uncomfortable with stillness that they felt the need to constantly fill the air with words? Think about how their constant talking affected the dynamic of the conversation. Often, the more someone talks, the less space there is for meaningful exchange, and the less we truly understand about their perspective. Now, compare that experience to a moment when you allowed silence to speak for you. You didn't feel the need to fill the space, and in doing so, you likely gained a clearer perspective on the situation. You may have noticed subtle cues, body language, tone, or pauses that revealed more than words ever could. Silence gives us the space to observe, to think, and to understand more fully, making it an essential tool in our personal growth and relationships. By embracing silence, we invite the opportunity to truly listen, to gain wisdom, and to respond with greater clarity and insight. Once words leave our mouths, they cannot be taken back. They hang in the air, often carrying more weight than we realize. Words have the power to build, but they can also destroy, damaging relationships, causing deep regret, and even altering the course of situations. A harsh comment, an ill-timed criticism, or a snap judgment can leave scars that last far longer than the brief moment in which they were spoken. We may wish we could retract our words, but by the time we recognize our mistake, the damage has already been done. In moments of anger or frustration, it's easy to let emotions take the wheel. Our thoughts race, and before we know it, we've said something impulsively, something we didn't fully mean, or something that can't be undone. That emotional surge can cloud our judgment, leading us to speak without thinking, often resulting in regret. How many times have we found ourselves wishing we'd just stayed quiet, knowing that the situation could have been handled better with a moment of pause? It's all too common, and yet, in the heat of the moment, the impulse to speak can feel almost overwhelming. Consider a situation where silence would have been the wisest choice. Perhaps during a heated disagreement with a friend, a colleague, or a loved one, you felt your emotions rising and your words becoming sharper. In that moment, a choice to remain silent or to walk away could have prevented things from escalating further. But instead, you spoke out of frustration, and the conversation took a turn for the worse. The tension grew, the relationship was strained, and you were left with a sense of regret. How often have we found ourselves in similar circumstances, wishing we could turn back time and simply hold our tongues? Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, understood the profound impact of speech. He believed that speaking rashly is a sign of weakness, as it indicates a lack of control over one's emotions. In his meditations, he often emphasized the importance of precision in both thought and speech. The wise individual, according to Aurelius, chooses when and what to say with great care. Rather than reacting impulsively, the Stoic seeks to align their speech with reason and virtue, avoiding the temptation to speak out of anger or frustration. This is not to say that silence is always the answer, but that words should be chosen intentionally, with an awareness of their potential consequences. Now, imagine a real-life scenario where two people are in a heated argument. Both are hurt, defensive, and ready to lash out with words. But one person, instead of continuing the cycle of conflict, chooses silence. They refrain from speaking in the face of emotional turmoil, while the other continues to hurl accusations and blame. In this moment, who gains control of the situation? It is the one who chooses silence, who remains calm and composed, who stands strong in their ability to avoid reacting to the emotional impulse of the moment. Silence becomes their strength, allowing them to maintain control of the conversation, avoid further escalation, and ultimately shift the power dynamic. The person who speaks the least often has the most power because they control the narrative, the flow, and the emotional tenor of the interaction. Unchecked words have the potential to cause harm that lasts far longer than the brief moment in which they were spoken. But by exercising the wisdom of silence, we can avoid the traps of emotional impulse, protect our relationships, and gain greater mastery over ourselves and the situations we face. The Stoic principle, "Don't speak unless it improves upon the silence," is a powerful reminder of the value of precision in communication. Words should not be spoken merely for the sake of speaking. Instead, they should serve a purpose, be thoughtful, clear, and meaningful. In our fast-paced, often reactive world, it's easy to speak without considering the impact of our words, but the Stoic philosophy encourages us to take a step back and reflect before we respond. This principle teaches us that silence is not just an absence of speech. It is an opportunity to ensure that when we do speak, our words are worth saying. The art of thoughtful speech involves taking a moment to pause and reflect before responding. This pause doesn't need to be long, but it should be intentional. It allows us to process our thoughts, choose our words carefully, and avoid saying something we might later regret. It's a practice of measured responses rather than impulsive reactions. Think about a time when you've spoken without thinking. Did your words serve a purpose, or were they just a reaction to the moment? When we train ourselves to pause and consider the consequences of our words, we can communicate with greater clarity and intention. Using silence to create space for clarity is a powerful tool. Imagine you're in a conversation, and you're tempted to respond quickly to make your point or defend yourself. Instead, try holding back for just a moment. Use that brief pause to think about what you truly want to say and whether it will improve the conversation. In that moment, silence allows you to gather your thoughts, refine your message, and ensure that your words are more impactful. This approach can prevent misunderstandings, reduce conflict, and make your words carry more weight. When you speak carefully and intentionally, your words become more powerful and respected. Whether in professional settings, relationships, or personal growth, the value of measured words cannot be overstated. Thoughtful communication fosters trust, strengthens connections, and shows that you are in control of your emotions and your message. In contrast, hasty or careless words often weaken your position, diminish your credibility, and can lead to unnecessary conflicts. As a practical exercise, try to practice pausing before speaking in your next conversation. Take a moment to consider, is what I want to say necessary? Is it helpful? Will it improve upon the silence? This small habit can have a profound impact on your communication, making you a more thoughtful and respected speaker. By embracing silence and choosing your words with precision, you will find that your conversations become more meaningful and your influence grows.